in such a positive space, in such a mindful space, it feels like that your co-parenting situation is a lot better, especially with Rob Kardashian. Would you say you guys are on a good trajectory?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I feel like time heals everything, and people change, and situations change, and you get to see the situation for what it is, and the situation is dream. And also, too, let's not leave out King and co-parenting with Michael, too, with King. So I feel like long as like my kids are good and happy on both sides, that's all I care about as a parent.
I feel like I'm like a third parent for Dream, I guess. I mean, I do know how important it is for Dream to have a great maternal influence. Rob and I are crazy close to one another. I mean, we've always been, but you know.
Blac Chyna isn't staying silent anymore. After a storm of whispers and one too many headlines calling her reunion with Rob Kardashian a strategic move, she's clapping back. Hard. In her own words, "I'm not using Rob. Get that straight." That single sentence detonated across every gossip feed from TikTok to TMZ, setting off a new wave of debate about who's really pulling the strings this time, Chyna or the Kardashians. The spark? Alleged comments from Khloé Kardashian that painted Chyna's recent transformation as nothing more than a PR rebrand and a subtle attempt to slide back into the family's orbit. According to fan speculation, Khloé feels that Chyna's timing, her glossy photo posts, public apologies and new era talk and looks suspiciously convenient. But Chyna isn't having it. She jumped online to shut the narrative down, saying she's focused on her children, her faith, and her peace. Not another reality TV sequel. "If I wanted attention, I'd do what I used to do," she reportedly told followers. But that's not me anymore. Still, the internet isn't convinced. Some see genuine growth, others see old patterns and new packaging. Has Chyna really changed, or is this just another chapter in Hollywood's longest-running feud? Either way, her words hit exactly where Khloé didn't expect, right at the intersection of image, control, and credibility. Because when Chyna says she's not using Rob, she's also saying she won't be used as the family's favorite villain anymore. But that wasn't the only thing that lit the fire, because the real explosion came from a single post that made Khloé's jaw drop. It all started, as most Kardashian dramas do, with one suspicious post and a few cryptic likes. Fans noticed that Khloé had been engaging with comments that called Blac Chyna's comeback a calculated PR move. One user even wrote that Chyna was playing Rob again for relevance. And Khloé's quiet double tap was enough to send rumor accounts into a frenzy. Within hours, Khloé versus Chyna began trending, with threads claiming Khloé had privately told friends she was done pretending to be supportive of a manipulator. None of that's been confirmed, of course, but the internet doesn't wait for confirmation. It builds a storyline, and this one spread like wildfire. Chyna's response came fast, a mix of denial and defiance. She reportedly went live, telling fans that people were twisting her growth into gossip. "I'm not here to use anybody. I'm here to heal," she said, emphasizing that her relationship with Rob, if it even exists again, isn't about fame or money. "That part of my life is over. I'm building peace, not headlines." The comment section exploded, half cheering her on, half calling her out. Meanwhile, gossip insiders claim Khloé felt blindsided by the tone of Chyna's clapback, believing it was meant as a public attack. But to Chyna's supporters, it wasn't an attack. It was self-defense. They say she's been quietly rebranding for over a year, cutting off toxic ties, reversing old surgeries, and even finding religion. Still, the timing is impossible to ignore. Just days before her statement, Chyna posted a photo with a caption that stopped the Kardashian universe in its tracks, and it had Rob's name written all over it. The post looked harmless at first glance. Glossy lighting, black silk outfit, soft gaze at the camera. The caption read, "This love is forever. To infinity, Rob." No context, no tags. Just 8 words that hit like a grenade in the Kardashian universe. Within minutes, screenshots flooded X and TikTok. Fan pages stitched side-by-side photos of old Rob and Chyna moments, tagging it round 2. Others zoomed in on every detail. The ring, the background, even the timestamp, and searching for clues that maybe, just maybe, the two were quietly back together. Then the moment everyone noticed, Rob Kardashian himself liked the post. For a man who's been practically invisible online for years, that single heart was louder than any statement. Fans lost it. Some cheered for reconciliation. Others warned it would end in flames. But inside the family group chat, pure chaos. According to sources close to the Kardashians, Khloé and Kris found out about Rob's little interaction the same way everyone else did, by scrolling. That, insiders say, is what sent Khloé over the edge. She allegedly felt blindsided, betrayed, and confused why her brother would even open that door again after everything they'd been through with Chyna's lawsuits and public meltdowns. Meanwhile, Chyna stayed silent, for a while. She didn't need to say anything. The post did all the talking. Fans called it her soft launch, a quiet way of hinting that something was happening behind the scenes without ever confirming it. And whether it was a tease, a coincidence, or a calculated power move, it worked. The internet had crowned her comeback before she even typed another word. But inside Calabasas, silence wasn't peace, it was pressure. And Khloé was about to explode. For Khloé Kardashian, family isn't just blood, it's a brand, a battlefield, and a promise. And when she saw that post, every rule she'd built her life around cracked at once. Insiders say Khloé was furious, pacing her home while messaging Kris, Kim, and Kylie in all caps. Did you see this? To her, Rob's public interaction with Chyna wasn't a sweet moment, it was betrayal. The one woman who'd sued their mother, dragged their names through court, and accused them of destroying her career was suddenly back in the conversation like nothing happened. For years, Khloé had considered herself Rob's protector, the sister who always stepped in when he vanished from the spotlight, the one who defended him when tabloids called him unstable. She'd been his second mom, even using that title proudly on camera. So when she saw that heart emoji, it didn't just sting. It shattered her sense of loyalty. Sources say she felt humiliated that Rob hadn't warned her first, like he'd chosen to confide in the internet before his own family. What made it worse was timing. Just when the Kardashians had managed to distance themselves from the lawsuits, the headlines, and the drama of the Rob and Chyna era, this rumor pulled them right back in. Khloé reportedly told friends, "It's hard to forgive someone who once tried to tear your family apart." To her, loyalty meant remembering who'd hurt them, not reopening the wound. But even as she vented to Kris about damage control, another thought haunted her. What if Rob truly believed Chyna had changed? Because if that was the case, then Khloé's fight to protect him might start looking less like love and more like control. And that's when the next rumor hit, one that would push her breaking point even further. Just when Khloé thought things couldn't get worse, the internet found a way to prove her wrong. Within days of the Forever Love post, blind items started popping up everywhere. One anonymous submission read, "A certain reality star may be expecting again with her famous ex." It didn't mention names, but everyone knew exactly who it was about. Suddenly, fan accounts began dissecting Chyna's photos. Every oversized hoodie, every cropped selfie, every careful angle became evidence. Headlines screamed that Baby Dream might be getting a sibling, and Khloé's phone reportedly didn't stop buzzing for hours. According to insiders, Khloé nearly threw her phone when a friend forwarded her one of the pregnancy tweets. For her, it wasn't gossip. It was déjà vu, a nightmare she'd spent years trying to bury. If the rumors were true, this wouldn't just be another tabloid headline. It would mean the Kardashians were tied to Blac Chyna forever. Again. It would mean reliving every court case, every accusation, every wound. She's terrified of that chaos repeating itself, one source claimed, but others saw a different angle. A viral thread argued that Chyna's alleged comeback wasn't about revenge. It was survival. Her OnlyFans income was gone, her brand deals were quiet, and some speculated she was rebuilding financially as much as emotionally. The narrative split. Was this a love story rekindled or a business move disguised as romance? Meanwhile, Kris reportedly began drafting PR responses just in case. While Kim urged calm, Khloé wasn't calm. To her, this was the beginning of another storm, one that might drag their entire empire through the mud again. But to understand why the Kardashians feared that so deeply, you have to go back to the courtroom that started it all. To understand Khloé's fury, you have to rewind to 2017, the year the Kardashian empire went on trial. After her explosive breakup with Rob, Blac Chyna didn't just walk away, she went to war. She accused Kris, Kim, Khloé, and Kylie of sabotaging her career by allegedly convincing Network to cancel Rob and Chyna, her short-lived reality show. The lawsuit demanded more than $100 million in damages and painted the family as ruthless gatekeepers who destroyed her future. For the Kardashians, it wasn't just a legal battle, it was humiliation. Every headline dragged their name through mud. Court reporters detailed every glare, every whispered exchange, every emotional moment from both camps. Khloé, who had always called herself the family's fixer, suddenly found herself labeled a defendant. She later said that sitting in court while lawyers argued over her brother's ex was one of the hardest things she'd ever done. When the verdict finally came, the Kardashians technically won. The jury ruled in their favor, but victory didn't feel like relief. It felt like residue. The internet was split. Half thought Chyna had been wronged. The other half praised the family for surviving another scandal. Khloé walked out hardened. She'd built a wall after that, vowing that the woman who sued her family for hundreds of millions would never have a path back in. So when Rob liked that photo, it didn't just reopen a chapter, it reopened a scar. For Khloé, forgiveness isn't PR, it's weakness. And she's convinced that letting Chyna anywhere near their circle again means letting the chaos return. But what Khloé didn't realize was that outside her bubble, the world was starting to see Blac Chyna differently. No longer as the villain, but as someone reborn. And that new version of Chyna had a name, Angela White. Somewhere between lawsuits and lost headlines, Blac Chyna disappeared, and Angela White emerged. 2 years after the courtroom chaos, she began a transformation that no one saw coming. In viral clips, she revealed she was dissolving her face fillers, reversing surgeries, and removing the symbols of the persona she'd built to survive fame. "I want to be real again," she told followers, her tone softer, calmer, almost unrecognizable from the woman tabloids once called Hollywood's wild card. It wasn't just cosmetic, it was spiritual. She deleted her $1 million OnlyFans account, publicly got baptized, and said she was done selling illusions. At first, no one believed her. Internet memory is short and redemption arcs rarely stick. But then came the consistency. Months of quiet, faith-focused posts, family pictures with her kids, interviews about peace instead of paychecks. Slowly, public opinion started shifting. People began calling her Angela White again, not Blac Chyna. Brands that once dropped her were suddenly inviting her back. The woman who'd once been a walking headline was now a symbol of second chances. Except not for Khloé. Sources say she doesn't buy any of it. To her, the makeover is a mask, a new tactic in an old game. The timing feels too perfect, the rebrand too polished, the comeback too convenient. "She knows how to play victim," Khloé allegedly told a friend. This is PR 101, but the more she tried to discredit Angela, the more fans turned the question back on her. Why can't Khloé let go? Why does she sound more threatened than protective? As Angela White's image glowed brighter, Khloé's control started to crack. And just when things seemed to calm down, another familiar name stepped into the spotlight, ready to stir the pot all over again, because Tyga was about to speak. Just when the internet thought the feud couldn't get any messier, Tyga decided to speak, or at least post. The rapper who once dated Kylie Jenner and shares a son with Blac Chyna suddenly started dropping cryptic quotes across his Instagram stories. "Some people never change. Know your worth. Don't fall for the same trick twice." No names, no tags, but fans didn't need them. Within minutes, screenshots went viral. Everyone knew exactly who he was talking about. According to gossip insiders, Tyga had even reached out to Rob privately, warning him not to fall for the illusion again. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The same man who left Chyna for Kylie, sparking one of the most chaotic triangles in Kardashian history, was now pretending to be the voice of reason. But in a strange way, it made sense. Tyga's past with Chyna was where this entire storm began, and his posts felt like a haunting echo of everything that's gone wrong since. Meanwhile, Khloé reportedly saw Tyga's involvement as validation, proof that she wasn't overreacting. But to the public, it just made the whole thing look like a rerun of the same old drama with new filters. The storyline hadn't changed, only the lighting had. Fans began calling it Kardashian karma, a full circle loop where everyone who once lit the fire was now choking on the smoke. And in the middle of it all stood Rob, quiet, reclusive, and once again pulled between loyalty, love, and the weight of his family's legacy. But this time something feels different. The world isn't laughing like it used to. It's watching, waiting to see whether this new chapter ends in redemption or ruins them all again. Because if Tyga's posts were the prelude, what came next would be the finale. At this point, the story stopped being about who said what. It became a test of control. For Khloé, it's always been about protecting the family name, keeping the narrative neat, and defending the empire that turned their last name into a billion-dollar brand. For Blac Chyna, or Angela White, it's about proving that she's no longer that chaos-filled headline the Kardashians painted her to be. Every post, every quote, every denial feels like a tug-of-war between two women who are both fighting for their own version of truth. Khloé sees herself as the protector, the big sister who shields Rob from making another painful mistake. But to the public, that protectiveness is starting to look more like possession. "You can't save someone who doesn't want saving," one fan commented. Another wrote, "Khloé's not mad at Chyna. She's mad she can't control the story anymore." And maybe that's true. Because for the first time, the internet isn't automatically siding with the Kardashians. People are openly questioning whether Khloé's concern masks something else. Fear. Fear that Rob might find happiness without her guidance. Or worse, that Chyna's redemption might actually be real. Angela, on the other hand, is walking a tightrope, trying to rebuild her image while defending herself from people who still see her as a villain. "I can't erase my past," she said in one recent interview, "but I'm not going to let it define my future." It's a rare moment of vulnerability, and it's working. For once, people are listening. But in the Kardashian universe, peace never lasts long. Because when power, pride, and perception collide, someone always breaks. And this time, both women might. As the dust settles, at least for now, the internet has done what it always does, chosen sides. On one end, you have Team Khloé, loyal to the idea of family first, convinced she's just protecting her brother from another heartbreak. On the other, Team Chyna, who see Angela White's evolution as real, not rehearsed. A woman clawing her way out of a stereotype she never gets to outgrow. The debate isn't just about who's right anymore, it's about who's believable. Because in the age of screenshots and subtweets, truth is whatever goes viral first. For the Kardashians, this isn't new territory. It's déjà vu in designer clothes. Every few years, their perfectly filtered world cracks just enough to remind people how fragile image really is. For Khloé, this fight feels personal. She's the sister who stands guard, who never learned how to stop fixing things that aren't hers to fix. But even her most loyal fans are starting to ask the question she refuses to. What if Rob's piece doesn't look like the family's version of perfect? For Angela, this could be the turning point she's been praying for. The moment where she finally sheds Blac Chyna for good and walks away from the noise. But she knows better than anyone that in this universe, silence never lasts. Every move she makes will be analyzed, every post dissected for hidden messages. Maybe this is redemption. Maybe it's revenge. Or maybe it's just the same story playing out with new filters and softer lighting. Either way, one thing's clear. The Kardashians don't get the final word this time. The internet does. So what do you think? Is Angela White's comeback genuine or just another reality scripted rerun? Drop your thoughts below and stay tuned, because in this family, the drama never really ends.